What's up, guys? Welcome to the Outer Nexus. Tonight, we will be going over more boogospheres. They are now showing up in China and really all over the place. And Jeremy Corbell has released new footage of one of these things. And he was interviewed on MSNBC about it. So let's check this out. Let's see what this is about. I think it's fascinating. They actually showed this stuff on MSNBC, which is, it's just kind of shocking that this is now this mainstream. Let's.
From AARO. And now it does say AI enhanced. There, it looks like there's some artifacting around it. What is the actual video, and what is possible artifacts from trying to boost the contracts and see what's going on here?
So we did an analysis of the video, but what I did was make sure to put out the original things that George and Knapp and I obtained. So you see it clearly says video 1, video 2, video 3. Our own government, because they've been studying this in the intelligence community, since 2020, they did a sort of rudimentary, I would say, kind of highlighting or enhancing.
So let's just go over that one more time without them talking. So this is an immense sphere that they have captured on satellite, moving through the clouds, making very strange right angles, behaving very unusually. It's a very large, they're saying disc shaped. It looks more like a sphere to me. And this thing just looks immense. Like, I don't know if they have a size on this thing, but it looks like a giant sphere to me. And then we have this stuff coming in from China. I'm not going to go over the whole video. I'm just going to kind of drill through it. So they have these things. Now, a lot of people in the comments were saying they look like flares, and like maybe at night they look like flares, like here they look like flares, but this is broad daylight. And there's nothing above them. They're just kind of appearing like that. They're just popping up. And then let's see. Then there's these guys here. It's kind of hard to see this. Let me see if I can zoom in there. I don't think I can. They're just appearing in the clouds. You could see the lines of them. And this is kind of angled from above. So there's nothing dropping them. They're just kind of appearing there. It's very unusual. And then there's more happening in China, apparently. We got this. Now, earlier, Moist Critical, or Penguin Zero, or whatever, he released a video going over his theory of what these orbs could be, in that maybe they're like, maybe somebody has them suspended from a drone. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe somebody's machined them out of some sort of, I mean, they could just be aluminum bowls. They look pretty simple. It looks like something very simple to fake. So I could totally understand why he would think that. But this is a video of one of them, and it starts out there. There's no drone hanging that. There's nothing above it. I mean, unless that drone is way up there. But I don't know. That'd be weird. But, you know, I suppose if you just had a drone way the hell up there, maybe you could generate an effect like this.
If it was up there high enough.
If it was up there high enough, but like there's no, like that's, I don't know, it seems like a stretch. It seems like a little bit of a stretch to have it suspended way up there, and now it's just going to crap out.
And the other thing is, you know, we're tending to think of the drone. You know, this is just, I guess, pro drone on this one.
Yeah.
Is, you know, we're tending to think of the drone nearly the same size as the ball.
Yeah.
But if the drone was much bigger than the ball,
Yeah.
Then there wouldn't really be that much weight for it to.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess my argument with that is if it was a drone that was way up there and this thing was just suspended down below like that, I feel like there'd be way more sway. You wouldn't be able to get it as stationary as as they're appearing.
Thought about that too, and I
Yeah.
think there would be probably a little more sway.
Yeah.
But when we saw the original Boogospheres,
Yeah.
they had the holes all the way
They had the
around.
holes.
And if you suspended it through all of the holes, then it would cut the sway quite a bit.
How do you mean?
Like it has holes all the way around it.
Oh, you mean if you suspended it somehow through the holes?
Yeah. Like each one had, another string going
Yeah,
up.
but I'm talking about the distance, like the distance from because the longer a string you have that ball on,
yeah,
like the more
sway,
the more sway back and forth that's gonna happen.
So I'm
You know what
saying,
I
like,
mean?
if it was through each one of those, and then, like I said, that drone was larger,
Mhm.
so it would have somewhat of an angle to that's all I'm going on.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough for me. It's tough for me to believe. I mean, listen, I 100% believe that any UAP video can be fake now. Now we have the CGI to do it. All of this could just be one big, immense psyop. And that is allegedly what the new director of AARO is saying, is that all of this is, in fact, one giant psyop. This is some sort of hazing ritual. And let's hear what he has to say with Mick West, because I think it's pretty interesting to hear his perspective on this stuff. Let's see what he says.
Sensitive site, and as they walked by, there was a gurney with a white sheet over it, and there's this weird looking rubber alien arm hanging out.
Yeah.
And they quickly go back and shut the door and tuck the arm in.
There's a lot of joking.
There was a lot of joking going on. And you see that if you were to go to, say, Nellis Air Force Base and go to the PX on the gift shop,
right,
you'll see all type of alien paraphernalia.
Really? Yeah, because they know
there's a whole
reputation.
business about this.
Yeah, it's a bit like Denver Airport has things about aliens, because there's rumored to be an alien base underneath Denver Airport, so they played into it. But you described it as hazing, and people have said like hazing is illegal.
It is illegal. It's prohibited I know that it's prohibited by DoD instructions. I don't know the legal aspects of it. I'm sure under the UCMJ, there's probably an article that makes it a crime.
I was wondering what's the line between joking and hazing. I suppose if it's institutionalized and something that comes from higher up, it would be hazing.
It looks like this was, again, a legitimate, it started off as a legitimate training effort, and then just went rogue.
Yeah, that's really,
it was misused.
It's really wild.
It is. And the fact is, these people, who are indoctrinated and understand how to properly handle classified materials, when they're read out, they sign that NDA, they never knew that was not legitimate.
That's the end of it.
That's the end of it.
Yeah.
But they still have the knowledge that the U.S. government had, a anti-gravity motor, derived from, extraterrestrials. And I don't believe in the description or the copy that I saw, there was any reference to UFO in the entire thing. It was implied, but it wasn't there.
So it's just.
But when you see the image, and it's your typical, 1950s, 60s shiny, titanium or aluminum UFO flying craft.
All right. So it's not that they weren't saying it was an alien technology reverse engineering program. They were just kind of hinting at it by saying we have anti-gravity. It looks a bit like a flying saucer. Yeah. Interesting. Did you or Ab talk to
All right, so there he is saying basically that this is all one big misunderstanding. It's basically just been a a disinformation program to hide aerospace technology. And the Wall Street Journal came out with an article supporting this idea or propagating this idea. And I'm going to read the first little bit of it, and we're going to delve into it because the problem that I have with all of this is that we have two now ufology that has become so broad that we actually have two really conflicting popular narratives here. We have MSNBC reporting on, alleged UAP craft, a very compelling video of UAP craft. They've done this now multiple times. They've had Jeremy Corbell on. Mainstream sources are taking the subject seriously, and now we have the Wall Street Journal coming in with what seems to be and what people are thinking is a disinformation campaign. So let me read the, and I mean, they're basically saying it is a disinformation campaign. It's just one that went too far. Let's see. The Pentagon disinformation that fueled America's UFO mythology. The U.S. military fabricated evidence of alien technology and allowed rumors to fester to cover up real secret weapons programs. A tiny Pentagon office had spent months investigating conspiracy theories about secret Washington UFO programs when it uncovered a shocking truth. At least one of those theories had been fueled by the Pentagon itself. The congressionally ordered probe took investigators back to the 1980s when an Air Force colonel visited a bar near Area 51, a top secret site in the Nevada desert. He gave the owner photos of what might be flying saucers. The photos went up on the walls, and into the local lore went the idea that the U.S. military was secretly testing recovered alien technology. But the colonel was on a mission of disinformation. The photos were doctored. The now retired officer confessed to the Pentagon investigators in 2023. The whole exercise was a ruse. It was just simply a ruse to protect what was really going on at Area 51. The Air Force was using the site to develop top secret stealth fighters viewed as a critical edge against the Soviet Union. Military leaders were worried that the programs might get exposed if locals somehow glimpsed a test flight of, say, the F-117 stealth fighter, an aircraft that truly did look out of this world. And we're going to get into that a little bit. Better that they believe it came from Andromeda. This episode, reported now for the first time, was just one of a series of discoveries that the Pentagon team made as it investigated decades of claims that Washington was hiding what it knew about extraterrestrial life. That effort culminated in a report released last year by the Defense Department that found allegations of a government cover-up to be baseless. In fact, a Wall Street Journal investigation reveals the report itself amounted to a cover-up, but not in the way the UFO conspiracy industry would have people believe. The public disclosure left out the truth behind some of the foundational myths about UFOs. The Pentagon itself sometimes deliberately fanned the flames in what amounted to the U.S. government targeting its own citizens with disinformation. Yeah. So let me just actually pull up the F-17 fighter, because I think this is mildly related. It is related. So let's see. So this is what they're talking about. I can't get that thing out of there. There we go. When they say they developed this disinformation campaign in the late 80s, early 90s, and I would say yes, that was legitimate. That happened. The Pentagon definitely had a UFO thing built up around the F-117, and that was an element in popular culture. I believe even the X-Files addressed this a little bit. That this craft looks like something out of this world for sure, specifically. But so I believe them about them fabricating the stories around this one, but the problem comes when you have all of these other situations, like for example, Commander David Fravor encounters the Tic Tac. His carrier group encounters the Tic Tac. They all see this piece of technology. The way that Tim Phillips is presenting this is though this is all conventional human technology. This is all just, it's all just man-made. None of it's extraterrestrial. And that just, you know, it kind of sets off red flags for me.
Now, does it set off red flags for you, or does it hit you the wrong way?
It hits me the wrong way, Billy. It hits me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Whenever I see a person just outright claiming like, oh, it could be a lot of different things, but it's definitely not extraterrestrial. That's just a little bit of a red flag. But that's not really what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about he basically, leaned into this is all just. He was using weasel words to imply this is all just conventional human-made technology. So my question is, okay, all right, if that's your angle here, if this is all just kind of conventional human-made technology, what did Commander Fravor encounter? So are you implying that was a defense contractor interfering with a carrier group? Because that's super illegal. That's well beyond hazing. My issue is that they're trying to present this as hazing, and it's like, how is that kind of crap hazing? How is interfering with a carrier group operations hazing? That sounds more like some kind of sabotage or interference. You know what I mean?
You could throw it out as interference, and I'm only going to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it's in it could easily just also be in the realm of they didn't mean to be there.
They didn't mean to be there. That's true. But that's great. And that's wonderful. That could be an answer for it. But still, the implication is that this is some sort of defense contractor with this type of technology, some type of anti-gravitic technology observed. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're saying like, you can't say, this is all human made, and then be like, okay, then what was that?
Then
thing?
What was it? Yeah. If this is all human made, then what the hell was that?
Yeah.
And then you get into Japanese flight. I think it's 1628. I forget the number right now. But the Japanese flight from the 1970s, where they encounter the ginormous sphere that just goes right next to their ship. And again, another with these spheres. We did a video on it a month or two ago. Those events, I don't know how they could be fabricated. What would be the purpose? To what end would be the purpose of freaking out a Japanese pilot with a craft that we wouldn't? I can't even imagine us even having. Like, you'd have to make the craft for that event to do that, to scare a Japanese pilot. To propagate. I don't like you. The thing that he's implying with all of this is that all of this is hazing and all of this is faked. And I don't think he's implying all of it's hazing. Yeah, you're probably right. He's not implying it's all hazing.
I'm only playing devil's advocate here. And one of the things that I would say too is like, we shouldn't just jump to like, intent.
Yeah.
When stupidity.
Yeah.
Could be the more like for that giant thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like, I'm betting whoever was in, charge of the operations for that, if, that is a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Like, would be like, what are you doing there? Like, you shouldn't be anywhere near people.
Yeah.
Like, you should be up in space or down in the ocean. No one should ever see you.
Yeah.
And probably was like, now we're going to have to do something about this. Hundreds of people just saw you. What are we going to do about this? And they just try and play it off.
Yeah. I mean, so what you're saying is that could have been some sort of crazy experimental one-off.
Well, like you said, even with these advanced craft, like, with, these, even if you were to say there's aliens and advanced craft.
Yeah.
Someone who believes in aliens would have a belief that these things have crashed.
Yeah.
Which means they have messed up.
Yeah.
Which means even if we've made one.
Well, that's the thing is, that throws Roswell into the mix of this. I mean, I guess it is that angle of they were using Roswell to propagate, it's just the same thing. They were trying to cover up aircraft testing.
Yeah. Testing, something went wrong, and now we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, so there's that. There is that. But then it comes down to the simple question of then what is it? Because what we're seeing, what we're able to see, is a technology that's so incredibly advanced that, like, it seems like it seems anti-gravitic. It seems well beyond next generation. It seems like it could be a solution for a number of if these technologies are
current
real.
Day issues.
Yeah, it's if these technologies are real, they're exhibiting properties that it's like, what are we doing with our modern technology?
Yeah,
right now.
Now, I have two things on this one, and the one is we may not have them.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to throw that out there. Then the second one is more just my own opinion. It's not based in anything.
Yeah.
Is that, I believe that all technology, for the most part, is a tool.
Yeah.
It's how you use it.
Yeah.
And one of the things about how you use it, and I don't think the government, or if you want to call it the shadow government, believes that we are capable of handling things like that.
Yes.
Advanced technologies.
Yes.
And one of the problems is, I think that they have, if they have these things, they're never going to work. Because think about it. If you had a craft that was, like you said, I don't know about that Japanese sphere, but you said it's huge.
Massive.
Like city size, right?
Not city sized. I'd say like aircraft carrier size.
Okay, even that.
Yeah.
And that was what, 40 years ago?
That
50
was
years
1978,
ago?
something like that.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
So chances are you can make it bigger now.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, like, think about it. You have something that's able to maybe even move a small town.
Yeah.
Up in the air.
Yeah.
That thing fails.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That is a problem.
And I am all for getting that.
Yeah.
But I believe that the powers that be, whoever they may be, no, they absolutely not.
Yes. And I mean, I agree with you that if this kind of technology exists, likely there's some sort of, maybe not a breakaway civilization that's happening right now, but a scenario that's happening where it's like the rest of humans can't handle this technology.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think they're working off the doctrine, like, a person is smart and people are dumb.
People are dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the issue comes to a head where it's like, we have AI, we have the internet. It's getting to a point where it's going to be unignorable that this is happening, that there is some sort, that these defense contractors are kind of, they have this technology, they're using it to their advantage, and they're kind of creating a parallel society that manages ours. Not even a parallel society. They're creating a caste system. They're creating a caste system. It's going to be the new class system.
Well, here's, and I don't disagree, because everybody now can see that there's a class divide.
Yeah.
And it's only getting larger.
Yeah.
And
how do you manage that?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If they start pulling their cards and all of a sudden they're like, hey guys, we're gonna live not near you.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what do you mean by that? Not near you.
Yeah.
Higher up.
They're just gonna go
yeah. And or they start pulling something, where it's like gated communities, and like it's like, oh, how are you growing all that quickly? Where are you getting all your stuff from?
Yeah.
At that point, we're gonna have real questions, and more than just questions.
I mean,
at that point.
so I just thought of this dystopian scenario where they do exactly that, and they just use the humanoid robots to manage the rest of the human population.
Yeah.
Like, we're just trapped down here they have their robot armies managing the peasant class as they're in space.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
then,
I mean-
and then honestly, and really, if you wanted to make a breakaway civilization where, you know, you just do that and have the robots manage the humans until they forgot about the old ones leaving.
Yeah.
And then the robots would go away, and that's it.
Yeah. And you know, it's
Yeah.
it's the Elysium scenario,
It's the
basically.
Elysium scenario. Yeah.
So I think, you know, once we start seeing things closer to that,
Yeah.
then there will be actual, so like those questions that you have about stuff like this,
Yeah.
it's like we're gonna find those answers now, because
See, that's the thing.
yeah.
Yeah. With AI and Grok and how fast things are moving, I feel like it's going to be hard to continue to hide something like this to the degree that they were able to before.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, when there's such a split, it's going to be harder to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, and I honestly, I think that's what this Iran thing is kind of about, is like that the angle is we can't have nukes. Like,
well, that's
Yeah.
one of the things, you know, that we were bringing up is like, you know, again, it's a technology, you know, that's what I was trying to get at.
mhm,
It's like even Iran, who you
Mhm.
don't want to have nukes.
mhm,
But if you want humanity to move forward, you have to, you know, and I don't want them to have nukes.
Mhm.
Let's make that clear.
yeah,
But you almost have to give them the ability to have them and then be responsible with them.
Yes.
Because if they can't
mhm,
do that, if humans can't do that,
mhm,
then all of the other technologies that we just mentioned
mhm,
are way beyond that.
yeah,
Like, yes, a nuke is super powerful, but if you can float even a town, it's like, well, that's, you can do so much with that.
yeah,
You know, it's all of these technologies need to be used responsibly, and I think we need to get to a spot where we can do that.
yeah. And but the thing is, with this direction for AARO and with Tim Phillips, I don't know now if we're going to get these answers anymore. I think we will. It's just, it's going to be like pulling toenails from the government now, trying to get this kind of info out of them, you know?
Oh yeah, and one of the things that we didn't mention too is even his access is limited.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that our government is known for, especially in the contractor community, is programs
Yeah.
in a program,
Yes.
in a program,
Mhm.
and so
It
on
just
and
keeps
so
going
forth.
down the rabbit hole.
And the person in this program,
Mhm.
most of the time, has no clue
Mhm.
what goes on this side of his program
Mhm.
and this side of his program.
Yeah.
It's one thing.
Yeah. And throughout that whole thing, you can tell that Tim Phillips was trying to reorient back to, we have no credible evidence of extraterrestrials. And like, he was trying to hone back in on that one specific point to, kind of deflect off of a whole bunch of other things. And it's like, even times when they were not asking him about extraterrestrials, he would inject it in there to make the subject sound more ridiculous. And really, this subject is not about extraterrestrials. It's about dangerous objects in our skies and the potential for burgeoning new technologies, new energy technologies. It really doesn't have to do with extraterrestrials. And that's really the red flag. I want to clarify that. That's the red flag to me, is when we talk about these subjects in this manner and then somebody interjects in extraterrestrials into it when nobody brought them up, and we're just talking about objects in the sky and advanced energy systems. That's when I get the red flag, is when they want to talk, when they're against extraterrestrials and they want to focus on how it's not extraterrestrials. It's like, you know what? It's just, yeah.
Yeah, and just I want to hit on extraterrestrials for just a second there. One of the things that always bothers me about
Yeah.
extraterrestrials, always, and you see it in the movies,
Yeah.
is it's like every other species, because it's not just one extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Like normally it's like, oh, there's a bunch of them, and,
Mhm.
from everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like humans are the only ones that can't know, can't
Yeah.
be
Exactly.
it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, no,
It's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it angers me. But anyway,
Yeah. No, that is bullshit. That it's like humans are always left in the dark. But maybe there's a reason for that.
Right.
But yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. Eric Burleson is going to have more congressional hearings, I believe, with David Grush. The UFO subject is not going anywhere anytime soon. Even if the Wall Street Journal and the Pentagon want it to go away. But we're going to keep covering it and seeing where it goes. But we'll see you next time, guys. Like and subscribe.